Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Okay. So this is the hierarchy of exception. Okay. You can see here. Okay. So object is the father class of everyone. You guys know it, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. In Java, everything is inside the object. It is the father class of everything. Okay. Now, object under the object there is a class called throwable. It is the father class of all kind of exceptions and errors. If someone asks you what is the father class of exception or error or exception only, that will be the throwable. Throwable is the father class from where it is getting extended by the exception class and the error class. Okay. So inside exception, there are different kind of exception and errors are also there. Okay. So now coming to the point of what is the difference between exception and error. Why do we say that this is an exception and why do we say that this is an error? Mostly what happens when error is coming, it is showing while you're writing the code. Okay. Error is something that is not like that the developer or the tester can't handle in the code. That is the main issue of error. Error can't be handled, to be honest. Exceptions we might give a try to handle, but errors can't be handled. Error is something that comes at the time of writing the code. Just like Sujit said few minutes back that this could be syntax error, like you are giving just a few minutes ago what Saujanya was doing, she was giving like W as a capital. It was not taking as a keyword then, right? In the while. Also, we are forgetting to give a extra braces, or we are writing some code in a wrong syntactical manner. That is when the error is getting through. So error is always compile time. Am I clear? Error is a compile time thing. Always when you're running the code, always when you're writing the code, before running anything, the error will be there. Okay. Exception, for exception, it might not be the case. Most of the exception are runtime exception. There are few compile time, but most of the exceptions are runtime exceptions. So the main basic difference between the error and the exception is error can't be handled, exception can be handled. Okay, these are the main basic difference. So for the exception, it sometimes let you pass or run the code and throw the error at throw the exception at the console. While in the error, it will not let you mostly run the code because it will say error exists in your code. Please check or something like that. The pop-up will show or the console will show that error exists in the project. Error will not let you move forward. Exception might be, but there is a way to handle the exceptions. That is the basic difference between exceptions and errors. Now coming to the different types of exceptions. What are these? These are checked exception and unchecked exception. Okay, so one thing we are very clear now that exceptions are mostly happening in the runtime, right? Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So there are some exceptions that are happening in the compile time also. Okay, what are these? For say you are writing a piece of code. It already knows that this code might throw error or might throw an exception. Okay. At that moment, in that particular code, we are trying to handle that exception there. Okay. That is called checked exception. While you're writing the code, it will show you some warning or some error. So this piece of code might throw exception. Please add an exception handling feature in there. That is what checked exception. Okay. So for Java, what is the best way to show you that it is a warning? That would be a red mark on the left of the line, right? That this line might throw error. It will show. Please throw an exception. Like that, it will show. So that is what the checked exception. IO or compile time exception, it is also called. And the unchecked exception is something that will not resist the compilation. It will let you compile the entire code. It will let you run the code until the exception happens. Okay. First say, are you guys seeing my screen?
Yes.
Please don't you guys, I'm not seeing my screen. Okay.
No, it is not there.
Okay. Is it visible now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So in this point, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to create an exception. Okay. Let's say I have written this code. Okay. So in the entire piece of code, there is no kind of exception or error, right? Is anyone
Yes.
seeing any exception or error or something?
No.
All right. So this is a simple piece of code that will not, that has no kind of errors in it. Okay. If I run this code, it is giving me an arithmetic exception. Okay. What is it? It is showing that 0 can't
Divisible
be
by 0.
Yes, yes. No method can't be divided by 0. Okay, no number. So what does it doing? What is it doing? At the compile time, we know that before the runtime, the compilation happens, right? Already.
Yes.
At the compile time, it is not seeing any kind of syntax error. It is not seeing any kind of code that might show exception. To it, what is it? It is an integer value with 10. It is an integer value with 0. And I'm dividing this two value and putting the result of the value to C. Okay, that is what I'm doing. I can do that, right? That is not an error to Java side. But while I'm doing the operation, it realizes that it is not possible to divide a number by 0. That is when it is showing the arithmetic exception at the runtime. Okay. So now coming to the point of why do we need to handle an exception? Why? Why on earth do we need to handle any kind of exception? First, say, okay, I'm removing these lines. Instead, I'm calling the object. How to call the object?
With the object.
How?
With
How to?
reference.
Class.
Class name.
Then
T obj is
Ob-
equals
object
to
name.
new
New.
new
D.
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 Method.
bus.
Bra
Like
braces.
Braces and
Braces and colon.
Yeah. So
obj.
obj dot. Oh my god.
Small
Small.
letters.
So obj is giving what? It is giving me this method, right?
Methods. Yeah.
Because this class contains this method. Now inside this method, I'm writing 10. I'm writing 0 is there. Okay. So now I'm running the code. It is giving me an arithmetic exception. So first say I had this code I have shown you this project. I have this code after this method calling. Okay. One or it will keep throwing me the error. Like this one is an error. It is a warning that I'm giving two object reference variable the same name. That is an error. So this is the code I have written. Now at the runtime, I'm seeing that it is running till here. It is not moving here, right? See, I have written so many lines of code here. I need these things, right? But it is not showing anything because in the 15th line only I have gotten an exception. So as soon as I've got the exception, it is not letting me move forward anywhere. It is not even compiling these lines to check what is happening here, if there is an exception or not, right? As at this point, we are having this exception. Got it? So it is very much important to handle this exception. Why? Because if we don't handle this exception, this line of code will not be executed. Got it?
Yes.
So first say, I am giving a try catch block here. Any kind of message would be fine. Any kind of message printing would be more fine. So what am I doing here?
Advance column. Yeah.
Yeah, what am I doing here? I'm just handling the exception. Okay. First say, if I just run this right now, what will it do? See, as soon as I've handled this exception with this try and catch block, I will come to this later. As soon as I've handled this exception with the try and the catch block, both the code snippets are getting executed. Okay, how? It is coming here with the object reference variable. It is calling this method. It is saying that this method has an exception. It is handling with the message. What message? This message.
By 0.
By 0. We are
Dash
getting
by
this
0.
on the arithmetic exception, right? We are getting this. So that method, message is getting displayed here. After that, it is going to the next set of code. Got it? So
Yes.
that is why we need to handle an exception. Manika, just stop the recording.